if I may ask?
Sorry, just give me 1 second and I'm just going to mute my screen reader here. There we
Okay.
go. So I'm based in Scotland. I'm in an area called Fife in Scotland. So that's where I live and I also work as well.
Nice. Great to hear. All right. Well, I haven't properly introduced myself, but my name is Mariona. Very nice to meet you. I'm a design researcher and I sometimes work with Charles, so for ARX Vision.
Mhm,
And yeah, first of all, I wanted to know a bit about yourself because it's the first time I meet you.
mhm. Yeah. So I'll tell you a bit about the job I do and things as well. So I am Stuart Beveridge. I'm actually visually impaired. I'm totally blind. I don't have any useful vision at all. And I work for a small charity in Fife in Scotland called SeaScape, and I work as head of accessible technology. So that's working with people like myself who are, totally blind or whose sight is very, very poor. So, that they can't use
Mm-hmm.
any magnification or anything like that. They have to depend on speech or, like voice control, things like the Amazon Echoes, etc.
Yeah.
So very, very varied job. But I've been doing it for 9 years now, so I must be doing something right, 9.5 years. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, and I kind of I came across ARX basically because I'm obviously into everything smart, and I keep my finger on the pulse on what's new in
Yeah.
technology. I have to, it's my job.
Good.
And so I've saw many, I'm really interested in it because there are other products on the market which I've tried. And then I thought, yeah, well, let's see how ARX, fits in there and let's see if it's a viable option because it is a bit different to what, the other things out there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
So that's great. So yeah, today is all about discussing your experience with the product, etc. So as you mentioned, you kind of are very aware of the technology trends, right? And you bumped
Mhm.
into this concept like ARX vision. So my
Yes.
first question would be, what was the first thing that stood out from the product for you? Someone who is aware of what's out there, who has tried other products. What was the first thing that stood out?
I was aware that obviously it was a wired headset, kind of, a bone conduction
Mm-hmm.
headset. So I was really quite intrigued by that. And then, when I took it out the box, I thought, oh, this is nice and lightweight. And, it's got nice tactile buttons. And to be honest, I wasn't sure about the wired aspect of it, but it's really, really, what I really, really like is that you never ever have to worry about battery life, if you know what I
Mm,
mean, because it just plugs into your phone. So
yeah.
and when I plugged it into the phone, it took a wee bit of, just trying to get it set up through the phone. But once that was done, because of the nice interface and the nice tactile buttons, I was able to get up and running really, really quickly, thanks to the inbuilt help as well. The training tutorial. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, just really, really good first experiences of and easy to use, and that's what you really want from a product, isn't it? Out of the box.
Yeah, absolutely. So an easy onboarding, right? Um,
Yes.
and at the moment, what sorts of things do you use it for, or what's the latest thing you've used the set for?
So the main thing is probably you'll have heard a lot, but I like the short text, so I use that for like scanning things out the fridge, it's food packages, etc.
Yeah,
So, even maybe the odd, label on something, things like that. I'll use the short text for more in the kitchen. But then when a letter, say, comes through the door and, now I don't take it down to my mum and dad to ask them to read it at all. I just
nice.
use ERX and just use the document reader for, reading larger documents. And if the letter's, rubbish, then at least I know it's a load of rubbish. I could just throw it away. But if it is important, and it's not in Braille or anything, then I can easily keep it and store it away. So, and again, that I know that there are other apps out there and other technologies which can do the same thing. But I think the fact that, even going back to your first question, the fact that it's wearable is actually key, because it essentially is hands-free, and the voice control aspect of it when you hold in the circle button is really, really good as well.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, that's good. So maybe this has answered my next question, but what would you say is the best thing about ARX Vision?
Again, it just really, from the first two questions, it's easy to use. It's got a nice voice, actually. I must say, I do like the voice that it has now.
Mm,
I think Charles updated it recently, and it does seem a nice and friendly UK voice, so it's nice to hear it
yeah,
reading back to you. So yeah, so I like the voice control, and just I think the fact that it's menu driven, a lot of it as well. I think that could be a good selling point for it, because there are some, products which are very difficult to use, and in my job, especially with that. To be honest with you, here we're dealing with an aging population, and it's people that are losing their sight. So they
yeah,
just want something that's easy to use, and that menu structure seems to be helping a lot.
brilliant. Okay, good. And if you could change anything about the current product, what would you change?
You'll probably be tired of hearing it, and it's maybe not too relevant on this question, but I would like it available for iOS. I think that would be a great thing, which is hopefully coming. I know it's coming down the line.
Okay,
But apart from that, I think the only thing I would maybe like to add, and again, I know that it's in possible development, is possibly a video connection feature, so you can connect
okay.
to somebody sighted and they could see what the camera is seeing from the ARX headset.
Oh, nice.
Um, the only other thing, because I'm so interested in it again, and it might be under development, I don't know, but possibly a nice a navigation system to say you're on such and such a street, or you're in such and such a place.
Mm-hmm.
A navigation system would be good,
Yeah,
but I mean, for what it does already, it's really, really good.
great to hear. Okay, very good advice. We'll take note of it. Now, I wanted to ask you, how's the comfort overall of wearing the headset? What do you think of it?
It's absolutely fine. And again, you've probably heard that the only time you possibly hit, and I did find this when I first wore it, was the camera side of it gets hot. It heats up a bit. So it's a tiny bit discomforting, I won't lie, just the
Mm,
fact that the camera gets a bit hot.
yeah.
But I suppose it has to do that, because it's taking so much power to run the thing, isn't it? But I mean, that's once you get used to it, it's actually it's not too much of an issue, to be honest. So yeah, that's the only thing.
Okay, okay, good. Now, compared to other things you might have used, like other products, what would you say makes ARX Vision stand out as a user? And you can talk about anything, the functions, the price, the onboarding, as you said, which is quite easy.
Yeah, so onboarding, again, really good. The price is a big thing, because I think it's actually the cheapest thing I've used that actually works really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
So the price is a big thing, and again, none of the other things I've tried, they're all battery dependent, and
Mm,
while it's while it's not a bad thing. Again, what I kind of like is you could just roll the RX cable up and just, put it in your jacket pocket. And then if you do need it, the chances are, okay, fine, it does have to be connected into your Android phone. I know that, but the chances are most people that I've worked with, or, the phone is such an everyday part of what people do now. You know that they live on their phones. A lot of people, don't they? And
Yeah.
so again, the phone's with you anyway. So you just, it's just so convenient to actually take the ARX headset out, put it on, plug it into the phone, and as long as you've set it up correctly, it's good to go.
Yeah.
So, and again, I do think the tactile buttons and the different shapes, I do think that is a good thing as well, because then you're not even having to think about, doing any swipes or, double taps or
Mm,
nothing really, nothing really complicated. And if you know which button to press, then again, the ease of use is really good.
good. Great. Well, glad to hear that. I guess I have a final open question, which is if you could ask anything of tech developers, what would you ask for them to do for the next generation of technologies for the visually impaired?
Um, the the big thing for me is all about, for me it's especially with a guide dog, it's about describing a scene in real time. So, if I'm walking up the street, I would love something in real time to say, okay, in front of you, maybe is there's a bin in front of you and it's 5 feet away.
Mm,
So you've got exact that this is a dream I've had for a long, long time, and it's not
mm.
quite there. Um, you do need some sort of sighted person at the other end at the moment to give you a really good idea. But
Yeah.
it would be just great, even to go into a shop and again, I'm asking so much, but just to say to a device, find the counter, for example, because you can get into the shop fine, but then how do you know where the counter is? So if you could say to it, find the counter, and then the device could scan around and possibly then find the counter and guide you to that counter, that would be wonderful. It's indoor navigation and scene description when you're out and about in real time. That's for me, it's not quite there yet, but I will say, well, I haven't touched on it yet, but I will say that ARX, when I use it with my Google Pixel 6, it is actually quite possibly the best scene description I have ever used. So, and on a, like a specialist device. So it's
Hmm.
definitely getting there.
That's great to hear, Stuart. Great. I really hope in the future we can make this happen from the tech side of it, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, these are my questions, but do you have anything else you'd like to say or talk about?
No, I think as long as I've been able to help you a bit there, Mariona, and hopefully I've answered all of your questions there as well. So yeah, I'm quite happy. I just can't wait to see what Charles does with it next, because I know he's got some big plans for it. So yeah, that's really
Hmm.
exciting.
Yeah, well, it's exciting also to see how users are using it, right? And like getting this first reaction. So thank you so much for sharing. I'm gonna stop the recording now.